and welcome back to my channel, Staying Spooky, where we keep it spooky 365 days of the year. If you are new to my channel, thank you so much for stopping by. My name is Caroline, and I love all things spooky. I love Halloween. It's the best holiday, and I like to keep it in my everyday life. So today, I literally meant to film this video, or at least I talked about filming it, back in January when I first got back from Salem, and I never filmed this video, and I was kind of like we're getting ready to go again in Salem on my birthday, which is September, so I was kind of like, should I wait? Should I just go ahead and film it? So I'm gonna go ahead and film what to expect when visiting Salem, Massachusetts in off season. So if you're going in the winter time, and then after my trip in September, which is in the fall, I will do kind of what to expect in their live on season. So the first thing, if you are planning a trip to Salem, Massachusetts, is it's one of the best places to visit, in my opinion. Even if you're not really into Halloween or spooky stuff, there is so much history in that city that it's crazy. It's really crazy that just to think all the buildings are super old, and it's just really, I don't know, it's just really cool to visit. So if you're kind of wondering, is it worth visiting? You hear it's good, whatever. It is definitely worth visiting, especially because I feel like in school we learned about the Salem witch trials, and you hear about it, and it's just really interesting to kind of learn about it. Or let's just say you're in Boston, I think it's definitely worth going to Salem just to see a few things. So when we went to Salem, since we went in off season, we went for New Year's. So we went the very end of December, beginning of January. And one thing I did not research that I highly recommend doing before you go any time of the year is business hours. That is one thing I did not do. I was kind of yeah, everything's gonna be open, it'll be fine, whatever. The museums had off hours, so we did not visit any museums when we were there. The Salem Pioneer Village was completely closed until the springtime. There is something in my eye, hang on. And I was really disappointed about the Salem Pioneer Village because that is where the Sanderson sister cottage was from Hocus Pocus, and I was I'm not really a big museum person. I don't know. I wasn't disappointed that we didn't go to the Salem Witch Museum. It wasn't oh my gosh, I really, really wanted to do that, and I'm so sad. They were open, they just had really weird hours, and it was kind of we were busy doing other things. So if you're ever in the situation where you're all these places are closed, literally just walking in Salem, we would take morning walks. Even when it was raining, we would go and walk because it's just such an awesome city, and it's so pretty. And just to see all the old buildings, I'll post some pictures that I took so you guys can kind of see what I'm talking about. But it's just they filmed Hocus Pocus here, and just looking at everything, really, it's just such a magical city. I can't describe it. It is just such a peaceful city. Another thing that we did do there that if you go in off season and things aren't open, that I highly recommend doing, is just sightseeing. We went and saw Hubie Dubois' house from the movie Hubie Halloween, which is literally one of my favorite Halloween movies, really all year round movies for me. Of course, it wasn't decorated like it was in the movie, but it was still really cool kind of seeing somewhere that wasn't downtown Salem. It was kind of was it in Beverly, Massachusetts? I want to say it wasn't in Salem, the house. I want to say it was I think it was outside of Salem in Beverly, Massachusetts. If I'm thinking correctly, if you want to go see it, definitely look it up. Don't trust what I'm saying. But that was really cool. And that was something we did when it was raining, because we were we had a rental car. So we just kind of drove around, and we're let's just drive around the city. Let's just go to all these places. Now, restaurant wise, I was so sad because the Witch's Brew Cafe, which I really wanted to go to, was closed. Like, it said they were open on Google, but I think they were actually closed for the off season. And then one of the shops, and it was in the Witch City Mall, they were open. I can't remember what it was called, but it was like a little gift shop, and they were like having a sale, and I was like, oh, we'll come back tomorrow. Like, it's fine. Like, I've already spent a lot of money today. And then we go the next day and it says we're closed until like February 8th. And I was like, keep that in mind, that there are some shops that won't be open just due to the off season. Another thing I didn't think about was New Year's Day. Obviously, a lot of places are going to be closed on New Year's Day. What did we even do on New Year's Day? Like, I want to say, like, maybe we were just sightseeing that day. Again, there's so much to see in Salem. Like, even if you don't go to museums or all this stuff, like, it's still just really cool to drive around. I will say, I do live in Tennessee. I live in a city in Tennessee. And I thought the drivers were crazy and insane here. Massachusetts is completely different. The roads there, oh my gosh, they're so old, they're so horrible, they're so narrow, like there's so many roundabouts. People are insane there. Like, I remember we were like trying to take a left across like 4 lanes of traffic. It was like 3 o'clock. Kids were like getting out of school. And there was this lady behind us, like we literally could not go. She was like almost tried to go around us. I'm like, and like we were about to go. I'm like, you're about to cause a wreck all because you're being impatient. It made me so mad. So if you are gonna get a rental car, just beware that the drivers there, like we drove in LA and we were like, oh, yeah, we can do Massachusetts. We drove in LA, like no problem. It was horrible. I did not drive once when we were there. I refused to. I was like, I do not like these roads. Parking is really awful. I think we just ended up always parking in the parking garage because trying to find a spot was like impossible. Sorry guys, I like an itch on my face. That's just something to kind of take in. Or if maybe you're gonna stay in like a hotel that's like in the Salem Common, where you're probably really gonna be like, I highly recommend just getting a hotel in an area where like you're really gonna be. We did a lot more walking than I thought when we were there, really because you can walk to so many places in Salem. But yeah, the drivers, that was like, oh my gosh, that was so stressful. Like the whole entire time I was like, we're gonna get in a wreck. We're gonna wreck this rental car. It's gonna be horrible. So that's just something to kind of note. But if you're not planning on getting a rental car, you're just planning on Ubering, then you don't have to worry about it. But with the whole COVID thing, we were kind of like, do we want to keep getting in a car with like a new person? We just kind of wanted to be a little extra careful. And having a rental car, it's nice because you don't have to like wait on anyone. You can just go wherever and whenever you want to. It's really up to you and kind of how much money you're willing to fork out. But definitely driving was really nice. But I think I would rather get a hotel like really close so we could just walk everywhere and we wouldn't even have to worry about driving. I will say in the off season, it's really good because I'm glad we went in off season because we're getting ready to go in September, which is going to be hectic. Oh my gosh, trying to get a hotel was impossible. Almost impossible. But it was nice because we could kind of really explore the city without there being so many people and so much traffic. And it wasn't just like insane and crazy. It was like, okay, we can kind of see and scope things out because we knew we were going to come back. So we're like, okay, let's just kind of note these things down. But we really had a great trip, even though we didn't, go to museums, which if that's what you want to do, I don't recommend going during the winter. I recommend going probably like in the summer, or the fall. Or even the late fall. I've always been told with people who live there, like, go in the late fall. That's like the best time to go. But just know if you go in off season, museums may not be open, certain gift shops may not be open, certain restaurants may not be open. Like literally, like I'm like, what did we do when we were there? But we were just like, let's just go sightseeing, let's just go walking. The Witch City Mall was really cool to go to. We went to Die With Your Boots On, which was like my favorite part of the trip, but it was still a lot of fun. That's what I think, even if you do go in off season, you're still gonna have a good time because it's just a really magical city in my opinion. It's just really historical. It's super easy to find a hotel during this time, and it's gonna be cheaper than it is in the fall time. Let me just tell you that right now, because we've already booked our trip for the fall time, and it's insane. It's literally insane. Like the fact that we booked it in advance and like how many, like 7 months in advance, and we still have trouble finding a hotel is crazy. You know, these are just a few of kind of my tips. You know, you guys, Beasley has to make an appearance in every video that I possibly make. I mean, she's just like my little sidekick at this point. So back to restaurants, we did go to, I believe it was called Salem Pizza, which was okay. And we did go to the Village Tavern, that was open. Oh, Witch City Pics, which you can go and take your picture like a spooky witch, that was closed. So if you're planning to go on off season, just know a lot of places are going to be closed. So went to the graveyard, where in Hocus Pocus, Max, is that called the Old Burying Point Cemetery? Maybe that's what I'm thinking of. I'm not. Anyway, it was in Hocus Pocus, and like the beginning scene where Max was like getting bullied. We went to that graveyard. It was so cold that day. It was literally like, I think like 12 degrees. Again, note that if you're gonna go to Salem, Massachusetts in the wintertime, it's gonna be really, really, really cold. Also note that if you're gonna stay in a hotel in Salem, that they really don't have elevators because they are such old buildings. So if that's like an issue for you, I would say either stay, like, if you can stay like on the first floor, or stay in a hotel that does have an elevator. For us, it wasn't a big deal. We actually did end up staying on the first floor, but I mean, when we went to Disney, I think we're up like 2 flights of stairs, and we had to get our suitcases, and it was fine. But these were just kind of some tips and things I kind of wanted to get out there, because I feel like when I did my research about Salem, like I tried to like watch YouTube videos, there weren't really a lot about going in off season and going, you know, like what is open. So just know a lot of the fun stuff, like the Halloween museum was closed. I was really disappointed on that. So a lot of things are going to be closed, but it is definitely nice because there's not so many people and so much traffic, and you can kind of just, you know, go to stores and without being like bombarded. I'm sure the fall time is definitely going to be different, but I really wanted to go in the fall time for my birthday, because I wanted to go as close to October as we could without actually going in October, because I've heard going to Salem in October, like people who have visited are like, it's almost not even fun because you're just waiting in lines. But the Village Tavern, really good restaurant. I will have to say, go to Die With Your Boots On if you like spooky shoes. You know, sightseeing, the Hocus Pocus stuff, and going to graveyards was just really cool, and kind of seeing it. And, you know, I just feel like we did so much, and that we still had such a good time, even though things were closed and we couldn't do certain things. But this is kind of my video. It's kind of all over the place, but I just kind of wanted to sit down and talk and just kind of like get my thoughts out. This wasn't really like a video where I wanted to sit down and be like, I'm going to discuss this and discuss this. This was kind of just a video that I wanted to kind of spit my thoughts out at you guys. If you are planning to visit Salem, if you have any questions or you're interested, or maybe you want to know more, you can always comment down below and ask. If you've been to Salem in the winter time, what did you do? How was your experience? If you went in October, oh my gosh, how was your experience? Was it crazy? Comment down below. You can also follow me on Instagram at Stayingspooky. I like to post all Halloween stuff. I don't really post, I mainly post on my story, but I always post like Halloween and spooky stuff. And I love following some spooky users back, so if you're into spooky stuff, we can be spooky friends. But thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you have a spooky day, and I will see you guys in my next video. Bye!